Hey guys, RTG back here for the video, guys. Today we have some cool information to talk about from Apple's WWDC 2021 event. Now this does continue, it's not just today, it continues through the 11th of June. So we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off right away, guys, it was a weird live stream, I'll say that. Now that everything is done virtually, it is even weirder, I feel like, than ever before. I mean, there was live streams before of these events, but it just feels, I don't know, it just feels a little bit different. So, first off, iOS 15 brings big improvements to FaceTime, updates to notifications, and more. One thing they did show off was now on FaceTime, you have like little, widgets, and it's actually stacked like in rows, so you can have multiple people on FaceTime. It's, to be honest, I've never had a FaceTime call with like 7-8 people. I've had a FaceTime call with like 4 or 5 people for college, but not like 7, 8, 9 people to a point that's a big deal. But it's all good. Apple is building video and music sharing into FaceTime. This is actually awesome. Okay, this is actually freaking awesome, because you know how many times you're on a FaceTime call with somebody and you're like, hey man, have you heard that song recently? And then it's like, what song? You gotta go send it to them, then they gotta hang up the FaceTime call so they can listen to it. All built in. Love it. And also video. Man, watching movies. There actually is streaming services that let you stream movies on your phone and watch them with somebody else. So it's not something like brand new concept, but it's really cool that Apple's actually putting it through. Apple is going to use is going to use AI to read all your text in your photos. Wow. This is actually something that I don't think anyone really is going to care about until you need it in that moment to care about it. But it's not too big of a deal. One thing I like better about this WWDC event was they actually showed off quick notes, and quick notes are pretty much the ability on an iPad to take a note very quickly. It's exactly what it sounds like. That was more interesting than this one, but I'll say that. But still, very cool. You'll soon be able to use your iPhone as your ID at an airport. This is convenient, but this is something I'm kind of, surprised that eventually we're going to get to a point where a wallet, right? Pointless. Because everything I use on my iPhone, like I use Apple Pay everywhere, right? I go anywhere, I use Apple Pay to pay for stuff. If I can have my ID on my phone, that's going to be interesting. Now, of course, this says at airports. This does not mean when you're driving and you get pulled over by the cops that you don't have to have your ID. You do have to have your ID. But if in the future it becomes accepted that you can use your phone, when you're driving, it just kind of begs the question, what if your phone dies? Like, this is why I don't think personally I'll ever stop carrying my wallet, because I have my credit card, my debit card, and my ID, and also my college ID. So I don't think I'll ever just get to a point where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just not going to use my ID or not bring my wallet anymore. I'm going to just bring my phone. Because you get to a point where it's like, what if Apple Pay isn't accepted? What if, your phone dies? It's a cool concept. And again, the whole point of all this is to make life easier. And I do like that. I like the concept of making everything easier, making it so you don't have to go in your bag and get your wallet or your purse. You just go ahead and whip out your phone, scan your phone, done, double tap, you're done. Very awesome. iPad lets you drop widgets on the home screen and brings changes to multitasking. That's what I talked about with the quick notes. It's a really cool concept. Anything that lets you be able to be more productive in your workflow, always a W in any department. Apple adds welcome policy features to Mail and Safari. We have Apple Siri will finally work without internet connection on device speech recommendations. Apple lets users see family members' health data. So this is interesting. Now, there's something that the Apple Watch has where if you fall down or, there's a big fall and the Apple Watch detects it, it will actually call emergency services just in case that, you actually got hurt or whatever. This actually was recently told about a year ago, I'll say recently, but somebody actually fell off a cliff and the Apple Watch, because it hit the ground hard, it actually called emergency services because it said, hey, the person with his Apple Watch might be hurt. So that's really cool. And it says right here, it just says like alert, 3 changes, 2, I guess more than 2 changes to the person, and then they're gonna say, hey, something's wrong with them. Very, very cool. And you can share it with different people. Also, just a really cool thing, especially if you have elderly parents and stuff. It's always nice to have that little extra feature. Apple is making AirPods easier to hear with and find. Now, they've been doing this very, very much recently. Now, iOS 15 is probably going to progress that even farther. But I will say one thing, with the AirTags, in addition of the AirTags, you're really able to see, exactly where things are. You're able to actually have the ability, if you have a later iPhone, to follow a guide to see exactly where your device is. I love that. Apple iCloud Plus bundles a VPN, private email, and HomeKit camera storage. Interesting. Apple announces iOS 8 with new health features. I said this in a different video. I said they're probably going to be with the new iOS, with a new watchOS interface. Probably going to be more health stuff and more stuff around just, not to say gimmicks, but not too much difference. Obviously, Q3 we'll see a new Apple Watch. Siri comes to third-party accessories. That's really honestly dope, because we saw Google, do this with pretty much everything, every single accessory you could think of. Finally, Siri is now incorporated into stuff. macOS lets you use the same sensor and keyboard across Mac and iPads. Okay, so this has always been a thing where you could connect your Mac to your iPad. A lot of people like to do that. Some people like to have a little mount on their desk of their iPad, and then obviously they connect it virtually. So this is not something new, but what is new is the same sensor as a cursor and keyboard across the Mac and iPad. That's cool. The other concept of connecting the two is not new. Apple redesigned Safari on the Mac with new tab design and tab groups. That's okay. It makes sense with how the new iPad looks. It kind of does make sense. Apple is bringing Test Flight to the Mac to help developers test their apps. So one thing we have seen with the Macs as of recently, and with everything going on with the Macs, is that developers are really incentivized and being pushed to make everything gear around the M1 chip. When the M1 chip first came out last year, the end of last year, not every developer was 100% on board with the M1 chips. And what we saw was a lot of different applications that simply weren't supported by the M1 chip. Since then, I will say Apple has done leaps and bounds to make sure the M1 chip is very supported. Not only that, but things are developed for the M1 chip. And again, just like typical, the best way for Apple to make money and to really progress their business is for every single developer possible to be geared around the M1 chip, because again, that is their best selling unit right now. And as long as they can get as many people as possible on board to worry about the M1 chip, that helps them out in the best of their ability. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, hit that like, hit the subscribe button down below, guys. I do appreciate you guys. We're all closing in on 200 subscribers. So if you can go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.